right, now here we go. We're gonna go ahead and start a little early. It's about 2 minutes. I got 11:58 on this screen. But we're gonna go ahead and start. And today we're just gonna kind of go back over things. I think there's some new students, and so we're gonna kind of go back over from the beginning and then go back to the other one so that y'all can kind of pick up, you know what I'm saying, kind of refresh and then go back. So I know today it's we're in for a storm, I believe. So they said it might rain, and we're just and it's really cloudy here. So here we go. Istungon Jokayadega. Now, who is that for? One or two? Anybody answer that?
Humgen.
Yeah, just for one. Yeah, Istungon Jokayadega. That's for one person. But if I wanted to say it to a crowd, what would I say?
Jokayadega.
Yes, yes. And see, that's where, you know, I've been telling you about endings. And that's where we're going to go through some few things today just to kind of refresh your memory. Because, you know, if we hardly ever use it, well, just here 5 minutes ago, we was thinking like lunch. You know, there's several ways to say lunch, like noon time, it's noon to eat, or the lunch that you bring, you know. And so she was asking, what is the word for lunch? You know, not to eat, but what you bring for lunch. And I said, oh my gosh. I said, that's something I haven't used in I don't know how long. And we were thinking about it. And we were thinking about this. And I said, what is it? And we sat there and thought, and same thing we did yesterday. Somebody asked for hand knuckles, the knuckles on your hand. And I was like, I remember it. I remember hearing it, but see, we don't use it all the time, which back then we did. Because a lot of people scrape their knuckles or something, or cut their knuckles, or, you know, they bump their knuckles and we part it. And this was a fluent speaker too. She said, I forgot. Well, that was an off-the-wall question for me too, and I forgot it. So retention and going back over these things will help you, okay? Going back over. And and then lunch. Finally figured it out. Ihalwa. Ihalwa is lunch that you bring to with you. Not lunchtime, but what you bring with you. Fachalek hombida is noontime to eat. But when you bring your lunch, it's ihalwa. See that difference? See how this is different? Can y'all see that? I mean, is that understood? Like when you say time for lunch or to eat lunch is fachalek hombida, food for lunch. But when you bring your own lunch, it's ihalwa. Is lunch. You brought your own lunch. That's right. And see, that's how this language is used. And remember, I said the other day, I said language was intelligent. You know, the English says lunchtime. Did you bring your lunch? Is there a word that says lunch? Just lunch like ihalwa? It's when you bring your own lunch. Jason, is there one?
I would say Yehovah.
I mean, for English, is there a word just for lunch?
Lunch. LUNCH.
But bring your food for lunch is ihalwa.
So in English, you're asking like a bag lunch?
Yeah. So, you
Brown
know,
bag.
yeah, that's a brown bag, but you know, we called it ihalwa. And we were talking about that. Then somebody started talking about knuckles. So this kind of made me gave me this thing. We need to go back over some of these things that we begin with. Just to refresh your memory. Excuse me, that was unexpected. Just look, go back over these things and refresh ourselves a little bit. And and the fluent speaker is my cousin, and she said, "What are hand knuckles? What are knuckles?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Come on in. Come on in." Thank you. And I was like, "What are knuckles? We don't use knuckles all the time." So man, that was an eye opener. We sat there, I was on the phone with her 30 minutes trying to think of it and finally got it. It finally got it. So it was a challenge. So we're gonna go back over this a little bit, just a refresher. Remember, Creek has tone. Creek has tone. It's not just we have accents too. Just like, and I use English people a lot because they got a lot of ahs, in the words. They'll say, but, hey, but, and tip. And that is, and we got the same thing. Okay, so like here, Creek has tone, and the tone can actually change the meaning of a word. Now, and it'll be spelled the same, but the tone, you gotta have tone. Okay, right here it says nagi. Nagi is a thing, but nagi is what? Hear the difference? Nagi is a thing, but nagi is what? And I use this a lot with my little 8-year-old, and I'll say, nagi. And he'll tell me, he'll repeat. Okay, this is what I talk about. Consonants can be double and then are held longer. Ido. Ido. But when you get to this jito, you got to pronounce both of these consonants because there's a double consonant there. Listen now. Jito. And you don't hardly hear this first D because remember, Greek, the Mvskoke language is very prominent in the mouth. You'll feel your tongue on the top of your palate behind your front teeth. Jito. Jito. Okay, right here. Haji. Haji is a tail, but haji. Haji is a stream or a small river, more like a stream. Okay, right here, look here. This is where we're going to really tell what changes the meaning of a word. Okay, look here. Laksa. Laksa is a hoof, and it could be a deer hoof. It could be a horse's hoof. Anything that is a hoof is called laksa. But now look at here, it's spelled the same, but look here, the tone's gonna come in. Don't change this. Laksa. Laksa. That's a liar. Hear the tone? Laksa is a hoof, but look how it's spelled. Li-a-ki-si-a for a hoof. Li-a-ki-si-a for a liar. But the tone changes that meaning. So that's why tone is very important, just like sounds. Remember now, in the Mvskoke language, it's spoken in sounds. It's spoken in sounds. That's why I stress sounds, because our language is sounds. So laksa, laksa. And I've heard this, and it's strange how, I don't know how I picked up these tones, and maybe it's just because I was around speakers all the time, but laksa is a hoof, laksa is a liar. Okay, look here. This is spelled a little different, but it can be easily mispronounced. Faga. Faga is a vine. Faga. is hunting. Hear that tone? Faga. And faga. Faga. And faga. Hear that tone, guys? Can y'all hear the tones? Haji is tail. Haji is river. Haji is drunk. Okay. Haji, hear that? It's short and blunt. Haji is a tail. Haji is a river. Haji is drunk. See how? See, this is where I got that passion for language. Because I was looking and here's another one. Look here. Ili is a foot. Ili also means dead. But now listen to the tone. Ili is short and blunt. It means a foot. But when it's talking about death, Ili, but they're spelled the same. It's the tone that changes the meaning. Okay, that's why I stress sounds and tones. Ihi is husband, but ihi is yes, but it's spelled the same. Ihi and ihi. The only difference is ihi is short. You got the ihi, short and blunt. But when you get to this, yes, you go ihi. This language, and see, this is what I call intelligence of the language. You know, when I said this language is very intelligent, when you think about it. I've done in-depth research on this, and you know, when I speak it, and I've always spoke this language all my life. But you know, when I spoke it all my life, but you know, I never really listened to what I was speaking until I started teaching. And that's when I started getting this passion. I thought, how can this be? Look at this. And that's when I did all this research into all this stuff. And it was like eye-opening for me. And I thought, man, you know, whoever, and I say the creator gave us this language. Look at this. Ihi for husband. Ihi for yes. Only he could be the one that said, you're going to speak like this. This is how you're going to speak. This is going to make you Mvskoke. And look here. He's looking at it. He's looking at it. He's looking at it done. But look here. He sees it. He just. See how this is, and this is what made me really. And then I found out that the language is very prominent in the mouth, where your tongue is placed, how your mouth is shaped. So like if you can't pronounce a word, that's how come I tell you, look at my mouth and you'll be able to pronounce it. You'll be able to pronounce it. So that's how this is, this language. Okay, look here, grasshopper, duffel, coffee, loja, chaboja. Hear that long sound? This is short. Duffel, isn't it? Duffel. What about coffee? Is that long? So how about turtle? Loja, short. My grandfather, chaboja.
Long.
Coat, kaba. Now that's a tricky one right there. Kaba. Coat. Waga. Long. Okay. What about Adami? Hear that tone? Adami. Ayo. Yanasa. Shada. Bagana. Albada.
But that,
Uh-huh.
in the middle, that's kebab.
Yeah, I see these things, and this is something that I've always and you can put a tone to some things, you know. And it puts this emphasis, like if you say coffee, hey, roasted. Or you can say coffee, hey, roast. If you say coffee, hey, roast, you're saying the coffee's hot. But if you put a emphasis in a tone, coffee, hey, roasted. That means, boy, this coffee is really, really hot. You're emphasizing it. You're exaggerating it. See, you can exaggerate this. You can exaggerate this. And look at loja. Now you can add anything to this loja. Loja lanidos. The turtle is green. But if you say loja lanoshidos, the turtle is just really green, and it could be like lanoshi, could hear the tone. It could be like bright green or pretty green. The tone changes, and you can emphasize it, exaggerate it. Look here, halbada jabakiduis. The alligator is mean. Halbada jabakiduis. You're just making a statement. I'm telling Jason here, he's in the office with me. I'm saying, halbada jabakiduis. I'm just telling him. But then I can turn around and say, halbada jabakiduis.
Really?
See, if he's really, really mean. He can really, really be mean. Now listen, jabaki can mean two things. This is where situation and environment comes in. Jabaki can be like, I'm mad. She's mad. The alligator's mad. Or it can mean mean, like something is mean. The dog is mean. The alligator is mean. That girl's mean. Or anything like that. Is that understandable, Ella? You know, you can do all.
Yeah, I had to unmute me.
And so see, things like this, you know, is something that I don't know how much emphasis you can put on the English language. Like alligators are mean. Alligators are, you know, it just seems more intense with the language. You know, it might mean more in English, but when you put the tone with the Mvskoke, it's got more meaning to it. Okay, now look here. E or E, short or hell long? Ijo, short. Biggie is hard. His or her. What that be? Iwanwa. Iwanwa. Abisi. That. Igana. Iga. Wagabisi. Miski. Okay. See, Ijo. You hardly hear that. Ijo. It's there, but it's short. Ijo. Biggie. Hear that? Hear that tone though. Ijo. Biggie. Hear that tone? That's what we need to learn too. Okay. Igana. That's short, ain't it? Igana. Wagabishi. Wagabishi. That's long, ain't it? So see how this is done. Okay. the right diphthong. We hardly went over this. Use the right lip. Hobuiwa. It's a ue, which is ue. And this mixes a lot of people up right here. Like we fida. And this is what is the ue. Ahogoji. This is a au, au. That's where this is, and they're hard to hear. Ahogi, ahogoji, ahogoji. And you know, that's a descriptive word. Did y'all know that? Ahogi means there's a hole in something or an opening, ahogi, in something. Well, there's an opening in your house, so they call the door ahogi. Ahogi, ojidos. See, that's an opening. So they call it's descriptive, it's called ahogi. Okay. A window is a small door, ahogoji. Ahogoji. A little opening. There's an opening and a little opening. Look here, deep, logi. This is that logi. And those are kind of hard. You know, those are kind of hard to do. I still have problems with I couldn't spell to stand, because of the diphthong in there. I had a hard time hearing it. And so
I'm sorry, excuse me. So is it the UE for each one of them?
Yeah.
Okay, Mado.
That's how come it's hard. You know, you can't really hear them, but they say there's no. But I can hear that. We. Question?
Yeah, what was it that? Ojivka, Hara, Ahogi,
Okay.
Nagidoa, Hata, Hara, Nagidoa.
Hadap, like going downstairs. Hadap gida.
Go down the hole.
Hadap gida.
Hafona Zangi, Ojivka do. What was it that? Ojivka. Yeah.
Well, did y'all hear that, guys? His grandmother was named going down in a hole.
Alabama time.
Yeah, and they're that way back. But you know, they had different names. My grandpa's name was Sigomahi. Sigomahi on my mother's side. But on my father's side, his name was Shani Fushwa. Sunday Fushwa. And you know, when the Dawes Road came in, they changed all that. So my grandpa's name was changed to Jacob. From Sigomahi to Jacob. But then, you know, I guess they couldn't pronounce Jacob, so they started naming him Jigabi. So my grandson, the one I showed y'all before, his name is Jigabi. And it's not pronounced Jacoby, it's Jigaby. So, you know, at school, when they, you know, they try to say Jigaby, and I said, it's just Jigaby. And they'll end up calling him Jacoby. You know, they'll end up calling him Jacoby, but we always correct them and say Jigaby, Jigaby, that's his name. Okay. Look here, remember I told you sounds were words. Our language is sounds. Remember y'all studied all these sounds here. Look at all these words we got. And that's why, and you know, I was teaching my little college class. And I said, y'all, I said, y'all need to really learn these sounds. Look here. This is marked up because I was teaching a class and I said, this is the most mistaken sounds. B, C, D, and oo. And then this, oh. And then A. So I tried to, show them, this is what it is. You know, this is how you are, and then I said, so can y'all argue with me that you don't need to study sounds? And they said, no, Mvhayv. And I said, study sounds. Because every sound that you hear is in a Mvskoke word, and this is proof, guys. It's up. It's up means y'all look. Look here. This is 3, but this is 2. It's up. Look. Ayo. It's a hawk. That's 2 sounds. Little words. Afki. Harmony. And you know, we used to call harmony shoga. Shoga. But here they got afki, and then I call it stew or gravy, whatever you want to call it. But we used to call harmony shoga. Jimmy is you. Shufi is rabbit. Jula is fox. This is all in the sounds, guys. Look at what those sounds did. That's what I wanted to explain today. When I stress sounds, your language is sounds. Shufi, this is all in your sound paper. It's a rabbit. Jula. And you know, I don't know, my grandma was traditional. She was married to a chief. No telling how long she was married to my grandpa. Now, I'm not even gonna say married, it was just, they were together for a long time and had several kids together. And she used to tell us, Mvskoke in Bonaga, and she didn't say Mvskoke. She just said Bonaga, Bonaga, in Hagi Ojidiwis. She used to say it had a sound. In Hagi, that's the sound of it. In Hagi Ojidiwis. And I didn't know what she was talking about back then. And she'd say, she couldn't speak English. And she would tell me, she said, in Hagi Ojidunt. She said the Mvskoke language, the language has sound, and they gave it to you to speak. And so I did, and she said the tongue was given to you to speak. So I didn't argue with it because I knew how to speak anyway. And but then as I started studying language, I knew that when she said in Hagi, she meant sounds. Sound of it. Fatja, right here, fatja is right. Fatja. Kojo. These are all sounds, guys. And look at how many words that we got. This is just not even a quarter of it. This is not even a quarter of it, but look at all those sounds. Oche, Wotko, Waga, Budgie. Look here, look here. Okay, here's that diphthong right here. Ahogi, Au, Ahogi. Akhogi is a mud hole. Aksufki, a hole. Akhasi is a pond. Look at that. These are words from those sounds that you've been learning all this time. Jabofa, a field. Jafikni, healthy. They used to say the baby, when a baby was born, Jafik no shidos. He's really well. He's really healthy. Jafik no shidos. He's really healthy. Chamchaga. Jump, jaga. That's a bell. This is in our sounds, people. You know, bell. We just say bell in English. The bell's ringing. We say jump, jaga, August. The bell is ringing. Haga is like a sound maker. It makes sounds. Jump, jaga. That's where that comes from. Jump, jaga. Jump, jaga. And so it makes sounds. So we say jump, jaga, Haggis. The bell is ringing. We can't say it's ringing, but we say Haggis means it's making a sound. The bell is making a sound. Any questions so far?
Mahaya,
Uh-huh.
I have a question about Jibani.
Uh-huh.
What's the difference between Jibani and Jabani?
Okay, you know what? That's one question that I'm glad you asked. Jibani is more like a name for a boy. Jibani. Because I call my grandson Jiban or Jibani. I'll say Jibani. Okay, see how the sound is? Jibani. Jibani. But Jibani is the gender. Boy. Okay? A gender. Jibani is a gender. Jibani is a name. And there's a tone in that too. Jibani. Jibani. Or Jibani. Because I call my little grandson Jibani. And if I say Jibani, my granddaughters will say, he's in the den. You know. And so see how that tone is in that? Jibani is a gender, a boy, a male. Jibani is a name, more like a name. So this is where, okay, right here it says Jibani, Jibani. That's a boy, a gender. Okay. Jokshaka.
Mahaya, Mahaya, just like you were saying, Jaban is more of a title for a boy. And so a lot of times I've heard, men, mostly men, when they don't know the name of the boy or the man, they call him Jaban, and then they'll get his attention. And then, like for us as females, they call us Hookti. And so I don't know how often, people can't remember my name, and they always called me Hookti. Or, some of the men that go to church, they call me sister, and so when they forget your name, that's what you end up getting called.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been called Bookty too at a gathering or something. They don't know my name, so they just say Bookty. And you answer to it. You'll answer to it. They'll say Bookty. And I'll turn around and look at them and, noggin. And they'll tell me, they need something or they want something. And this is at a gathering. They don't know my name. And that's okay. That's, and they don't say, what's your name? Nagatjudifkadi. They just say Hokti or Chiban. And that's what I call mine, Chiban. But Chibani is a gender.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is a gender. It's a male boy. Okay, Chabaki, angry. Chabaki is angry. But it can also mean like a mean dog, a mean anything. Okay? It can mean that, but it also means I'm mad, like Jabakis. I'm mad, Jabaki. She's mad, Jabakitos, Mahokti Jabakitos. She's mad, but they can say, Mahokti Jabaki Duishi. They can say that girl's mean, but listen to the tone. See how the tone changed that? Mahokti Jabaki. They're saying this
Mahaya. used to when, I've never seen an alligator until I went to Florida and, or the zoo. And, but when I was younger, I remember my grandmother saying, "Hobara da jabaki do ishte." Yeah. And so that emphasizes how mad he is, or, so that ending sound also like tabaki doish.
See it, you can exaggerate that. You can exaggerate it, and that's, it's any of our language, most of it, you can exaggerate it. Ridge, that's a ridge like on a mountain or something, the ridge, Janoksi. We don't hardly ever use that either, Janoksi. A son, Ipoji. Now that's belonging to somebody. Ipoji. Okay. His heart, Ifigi. A child, Istuji. Okay, Istuji is a small person, but it also can be for a baby. A baby, Istuji. Inochka. And a lot of times we leave the E off and just say Nochka for handkerchief. Nochka. Hear that tone? Nochka. Question?
Like, no, it's Scott. Could that be a handkerchief? So that handkerchief, they would put the E on there to make it the handkerchief. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. Estemet. Okay, it says who. So you got to have a tone with that. Estemet. Who did what? Estemet. Hear that question tone? Estemet, just like you say, who. Because you don't just walk up and say, who. You don't just say, who. Or you don't just walk up and say, Estemet. You say, Estemet. Hear that tone? See how tones? Estemet, who?
Maya.
Uh-huh.
All this, the sounds and such are very important because we were growing up as kids. Of course, we were around speakers, but we didn't speak. I mean, we understood some words. But for alligator, we always said, we put an extra in there. I think we said, halabutta. But we understood what we were saying. We knew what it meant. But now that I'm learning, that's totally wrong.
It was understood.
Right.
Yeah.
By speakers, it was understood. And it's not like we don't make mistakes, because I do. I still make them, just like, I think we tore Knuckles up, whatever it was supposed to be. We tore it up. We said every word there was, trying to figure out what it was. It was just, trying to figure out, because we don't, and even the speaker herself said, when you don't use it, and that's what our theme is for our language program. Use it or lose it. And we're getting a taste of that ourselves. Because she just called all of a sudden and said, "What's Knuckles?" She said, "I forgot." And I'm like, oh my gosh, you had to ask me that. And we were talking in Mvskoke. I said, Mvskoke. I said, I don't even remember what it was. And we went through everything.
Mvhayv,
Uh-huh.
what was it? Nagini.
Ingi Doctor, Ingi. Anyway, it's something put together. See, I done forgot again. Ingi Duka, Ingi Duka. I done forgot. See, because I don't use it all the time. Now I gotta relook. I wrote it down. I gotta go get it and write Ingi Duka.
Something to do with fire?
Huh?
Something to do with fire?
No, it's saying the hand Wa. Ingi wa. That's what it is. Ingi wa.
Hmm.
I don't, we don't use that all the time, and that's what was asked of me. She had forgotten too, and she's older than me. But see, when you don't use it, you forget it. And then there was that lunch, ihalwa.
Mhm.
That I knew right off. But they used to tell us, Danai chinoa ihalwa ididagit. She said, be ready, take your lunch. Be ready because you could get hungry. So they would tell.
Mvhayv, talking about the closeness of the sounds, and you have to know the tone and all. You just mentioned Hanwa,
Well, uh-huh.
and then when I hear Iwanwa, which is totally different, is that to me, they're so close in sound.
Yeah, they are. One is ihalwa, and then
Okay.
wanwa. But see how these sounds are making words? You got a question?
Yeah, question, OJ, like, eyeballs, tosba.
Dohwa nifka. Nifka is a seed. They're saying I see. Nifka.
So could it be, for example, that, ingi, tosba.
No, it can't be because it's dohwa. It's like put together, seed by knuckle, like this. But now doswa is pronounced. See, there's that enunciation again. Yeah, the sounds again. Doswa is I, but your eyeball is nika. Nika. It's an eyeball, and they call it what the Mvskoke is saying is, I see a seed.
Mvhayv, like Amy, so were they trying to say, I understand? Or I see it, I see what you're saying? Or were they actually talking about vision, actually seeing something?
Vision, like the eyeball. Nika is like a seed, like a plant seed. Any seed is called a nika. And even sleet, they call it hidudi nika. They're saying snow seed for sleep. Or, so it's a seed of, and so the eye is a seed. That's weird, but that was a good question. See, the more that when like people like that ask questions, the more I think, it's a seed. And this language, this is where I have a lot of questions. Why did they call it an eye seed? Why do they call it this? Why do they call it that? Some are descriptive. I can understand some of the descriptive things why. But like istamat is who? Istamat, hear the tone. Imunga. Always. They're always like that. Like I have a cousin. He jokes and all he does is laugh. Laugh. And laugh at things, make jokes, do this. And my mom was saying, she goes, imungados. He's just always like that. Imungados. Imathida imungados. She said he goes around always like that. Imungados. He's just that way. He's always like that. He's that way now. To this day, he's a laugher. And my husband, when he comes to visit us, my husband said, I can't stand it because he said when he leaves, my sides and my stomach is just hurting. Because he laughs at it. He'll tell stories, and laugh at his own stories and laugh at his own little jokes and stuff. And he's laughing and they say laughter is contagious. And so my mom used to say, imungados. That's all. That's just him. He's always like that.
Abila.
Before him, ihoma. But we say huma in front. Before him, huma.
Mahaya. In my case, the opposite of that is, I had a son rather, Songi Tuemats, Moes, all his life, somebody has always said, Mataki dondos, Bidagi, Oshat, Mataki dondos. And so instead of being, Imungados, it's, they were saying that he was different.
Mataki is different,
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and my mother had a pair of uncles that were twins. So one was, they always say twins, they're quiet. And they'll say, Hanget Hajo Hagidon. Hanget Nakigo. Nakigo. Nakigo means don't speak, it's real quiet. And Hanget Masafagiduis, Magidu Masuski. They used to say they're different. They got different personalities from Musk. And Mvskoke people held twins high. Because one was going to be a Owala, one was going to be a fortune teller, a teller that could see future. So when they had twins, so they say Mafakiduis. My mom was saying they're different. She said one is real nakigo, real quiet, don't say nothing. But the other one, Hajo Hagiduis. One is crazy and don't have no sense, And she said, but they're opposite. And she said the one that's real quiet is the Owala, the one that tells. And it's the first one that's born, I think that's the first one that was born in twins is the one that tells. Well, she had a pair of twins, uncles that were that way. And the one that was the Owala passed. Now, see, I got a pair of twins, and my one died, and the other one still alive. She's the Owala, but she's also a girl. So the way, and she sees things and she feels things right now, but she may not get the full vision until she gets older, until she gets way older. But right now, she gets a few visions, and she sees things that we can't, and she hears things that we can't. Now, and she's real quiet. She don't show emotion very much, not very much at all. She's really quiet, and she don't really show emotion. Okay, behind him, Iyuba, and we say Yuba behind Yuba. Jogo Yuba, we say behind the house. Jogo is house and Yuba means behind it. So we say Jogo Yuba. Got a question. Go. Oh, okay. Okay. Elijah, under. And it can mean under a table. We say Lija instead of Elijah. We say Lija, like Opobida Lija, under the table. Olekta Lija, under the chair. Lija, okay, Lija. We say underneath something. Tuba Lija, underneath the bed. Okay. His brain. Igalbi. It's got E because it's got his, and behind him, before him, it's got this extra word. So, but if you say before, bihuma, behind biyuba, and right here, igalbi, his brain, that's what it is. Okay, it's E. But if you take the E off, we just say galbi, a brain, galbi. And that's not a descriptive word, that's a word, galbi. You got a word for brain. Food. Bad or ugly. Okay, here is where it can go with pulwagi, ugly or bad. They'll say pulwagi means like ugly, in different ways, not just in anything else, but like ugly in demeanor. Imasida hulwagiduis. Imasida hulwagiduis. They're saying his or her going about or actions are ugly. You know. That's what that can be, but it can also mean in looks or anything like that. A brook or stream. Hachoji. Hachoji. Hasatki. Hasatki. Clean. Obey. Now this can be emphasized now, but what I want y'all to understand, look at all these sounds. Look at all these sounds that we went over. 2 and 3 letter sounds, single sounds, they're right here. Look at all these words. Okay, far away. Obey, that's far. But if you say obey, no, that means just extremely exaggerated, way, way far off. Obey, saying way off.
And the elders use their lips too.
Yeah, they, and you know what? That's still done, and that's not tough. Well, maybe it is. Is it taught or is it just our way? Because you know, if you see a kid, did they see their parents do that, or is it just something that the native people, Mvskoke people do? Because my grandkids, they go over there. Can y'all see me? Over there. They use their mouth and say it at the same time. Over there. They use their lips. If that's a Gogi thing, a Stijani thing, or is it what our ancestors did? Is it natural? That's what I'm trying to say. Is it
Mahaya. Years ago, when I was in elementary school, I went to school with Mvskoke, Abagi man Ayedu much, and Marat. When they would do that, that's when they wanted to kiss. And so, and after that, after I left, that school, and we went to California. And finally, when I got my first teaching job, I was at on the Navajo reservation, and they do that. They use their lips to point with. And so I did not know that. And so one of my kindergartners said, Mahaya, and I looked at him and he said, and he pointed with his lips, and I thought, what is he trying to say? And I said, what? And I kept saying, what to him? And finally somebody said, teacher, he's talking about Joe over there. He's doing this and doing that. And they were telling off on each other is what they were doing. But this one didn't want to say anything. So he was just trying to draw my attention to the misbehavior going on at the other end of the row. But I thought for the longest time when I was standing there looking at him like, does he want to kiss me? And so I thought that was kind of funny after I figured it all out. And so.
Yeah, well, we still do that. I still do that. Because like if my hands are full and my grandkids ask for something, I'll point with my lips. And I don't even know I'm doing it. In fact, I didn't even know it until just now, because I'll be like, doing something at the kitchen and I got something in both hands, I go, oh, Ashema, and I'll use my lips, and they know it. They know what that is. And it could be just a Stijani thing, just a Stijani, maybe, I don't know. Strange, isn't it? Hombida. Hombida is food. Hombida is food. Okay, here we go. We're Hotuji, a little girl. Remember, anything with uji at the end is a little girl. Hokdoji. Hayakpo. Hayakpo. That's a period. And hayakpo means nothing there. It's clear. Hayakpi. Hayakpi means clear, clear. Not as in water or anything, but things that are like in a field that's clear. So they call it hayakpo. Hayakpo. Obilga. A grave. Here we go. Albada. Albada. Pojida. Here we go with that diphthong. We feed. Here, see that? We feed to stand. I had the hardest time spelling this word because I didn't hear we feed to boil. Kusida. And you know, you can boil beans, you can boil meat, a bishwa.
Maya,
Uh-huh.
sorry, getting back to the word to stand, when you said you had a hard time writing, or
Spell it.
the H is silent?
No, there's no silent sounds. That's why it's so hard.
So
There's
you
no
have to
silent sound in the language. So we
hold.
okay, if you say it, you're kind of stretching your mouth. You can barely feel that he in there. We did that.
Oh, okay. I heard it then.
You know, that's a that's why this language is something to look into, isn't it? Because you could, it's you have to figure this out, and it's kind of hard to. Hosida is to boil something, but it's for cooking. Okay, hosida.
Haram magas, Mahaya,
Which one? Nugget.
to boil.
Hosida. Because see the boil like abishwa hosida. But you know, it can mean different things. But when you say boil water, you say moski.
Yeah.
Is there, one's moski and one's hosida. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, short as in height. Gojokni. Gojokni. Gonawa. Now this gonawa can be a necklace or a beads. This is where situation and environment comes in. Environment, okay? So like if there's beads, you're gonna bead and you say gonawa dayachtos, and you're gonna bead some, then that means beads. But if you say gonawa uno dos, you got beads on, you're saying that's even a necklace. Okay? A necklace. Whether it's beaded or not, it's a necklace called gonawa. Cold, kasapi. Kasapi. Gajida. Now this is gajida is something long that you can break. Okay, not anything that like a broken glass. Okay, now I want y'all to hear this now. Gajida, like you breaking a piece of wood, but when you break a glass, it's gajida. Gajida. To break something like glass is gajida. But to break like a stick, a yardstick, in two that's long is gajida. Or a branch, gajida. Y'all got that?
Yeah, Mahaya, again, you're talking about sound, and that's what's important.
Yeah.
First, when you first said that, gajida, and then finally, when you said it again this last time, it sounded more like the way that we used to say it when I was little.
Yeah, gajida.
Yeah. But it's just the same sound. I mean, it's just the same sound, but it's the way you say it that I hear the difference in it.
Yeah. And these sounds are very important, when I say, and I just had my second class at the college Tuesday night, and I said, Now listen, sounds. I said, I want you to go study your sounds. Because I said, in my class, I stress sounds. I stress it. And I said, so that's the key to pronouncing, to spell it, to reading and writing. I said, you gotta have sounds. And I said, that's what you gotta have. And they were kind of little, kind of like, and then I showed them, I showed them, see, these are sounds. We haven't went through this yet, but I'm going to, but since we went over this, and I'm hoping this kind of refreshed your memory on this and why sounds are important. I hope this helped today, kind of refreshed your memory.
Mvhayv,
Uh-huh.
it helps a lot. That sign behind you, I know I hear it a lot. I've heard it, different people say it differently. Mvskoke, Opananka. Will you read that the correct way it should be sounded? The sign behind you?
Okay. Oh, right here it says Mvskoke Ubonaga.
Oh, no. Okay.
Githas Ongat Dongatis.
Awesome.
It says Mvskoke Ubonaga, the Mvskoke language. Learn it or you'll get lost. And it's not literal for Mvskoke language, use it or lose it. Because there, remember I said sometimes nothing is translated exactly the way the English is. The English, this part right here, Mvskoke Ubonaga Githas Ongat Somgatis. It says learn it or you'll get lost.
Mvhayv, I always knew it as Mvskoke in Bonaga.
It is in Bonaga. That's the way, that's the formal way, like formal. That is the formal way. And that's what I'm saying, when I said Sofki, my mom would say, oh, Sofki. And that's what it is. I would say Sofki and she'd get mad at me until the day she died. She got on to me about that. And that's just like what you're saying, in Bonaga. Mvskoke in Bonaga, the Mvskoke people's language. They belong to them in Bonaga. But we say,
Mvhayv. Oh,
go ahead.
okay, Mvhayv, on Gajada, to break, would that also mean to take a break?
No.
How would you say that?
Okay. To take a break, like I think I went through that on that break on that one sheet the other day. I don't know if you was in that class or not, but we had getting to work, started the day, getting to work, and then taking a break. It was
I remember that sheet, yes.
Yeah, that's on there where we take a break.
Okay,
But this is like to break something. And remember now, this is something long or like a yardstick or a stick. But remember for glass or something, dagojida. Even an egg, dagojida. Okay, so this is, okay. Hayuan, hasiskitka, hamgat, uyanibiga. Boxing, hadam idihidiatis. It's 1 o'clock, past 1 o'clock, but we'll see each other tomorrow. Hadam dihidiatis. We will see each other again tomorrow. Boxing, now see, we did through the greetings, didn't we, that time? Boxing dihidiatis. Boxing dihidiatis. Say both ways. We'll see each other again, boxing, tomorrow. Okay? Mado, everybody. Mado.
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 Jay.
Bache. Manugas, bache.